Hi, and welcome to the Moonstone Witchery podcast. My name is Rian Lockard, and I am your host and the head witch here at the Moonstone Witchery. Today's podcast is going to cover some pretty basic information, but it's pretty basic information that I think is really important. And so I wanted to kind of bundle up the first three podcasts because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstandings about witchcraft, especially modern witchcraft. But quite honestly, there's actually a lot of misinformation and misunderstandings about the practice of ancient witchcraft as well. Over time, but perhaps that'll be a topic for later. In any event, I feel as if there is a lot of misunderstanding about witchcraft in our current society, and yet witchcraft is a really big deal, really critically important, and just a really valuable thing to understand in our current day and age, because witchcraft is rising in popularity. It's a buzzword. Witches are everywhere. You know, if you're on social media, there's a lot of self-proclaimed witches, the whole thing. I mean, Sephora packaged up like a little mini witch kit, and I think it had something like a sage bundle and like a piece of rose quartz or something in it. I'm not really sure, but if Sephora is in on it, it's been commodified and commercialized and mainstreamed at least a little bit. And yet, in my mind or in my experience, the way that it's been mainstreamed is kind of, not 100% accurate. So I have, the Instagram page that I run is called Moonstone Witchery, Moonstone_Witchery. And it is really nice. It's mostly a memes account because my experience is that we can learn a lot through memes, and I'm going to ramble about that in a second. But my point is that because of the large followership I have acquired over on Instagram, I get asked a lot of questions, and I get asked a lot of really great questions, and I get asked the same questions over and over again. So I thought to myself, I've been wanting to make a podcast. I've been wanting to sort of dispel misunderstandings about witchcraft, and then kind of just really open up a dialogue about witchcraft in general on the podcast. And so the place to start for me is where I started in our last episode with, what is witchcraft? What does it mean? And I'm moving now into where do I begin? What are some resources? What's important to know about modern witchcraft and those variety of topics that I really get asked a lot. So sit tight. We're going to chat about that. And we're going to also chat a little bit about, I think I'd like to give you guys some tools as to what to say to your friends and family if you decide to, quote, come out about being a witch, because that's a topic I get asked about a lot as well. So I think that that's pretty interesting to discuss. So let's talk about where to begin, okay? How do I start on my witchcraft journey? Where do I go? So a lot of times people approach me and they're like, okay, I am interested in this topic. Number one, they say, I don't know if I'm a witch or not. How do you know? I touched on that briefly in the first podcast, but I'll just chat about it again for a second, because my answer to that is, are you interested in witchcraft? Because if you're interested in witchcraft, there is an innate part of your soul and of yourself that is calling to you, and it's calling to you by focusing on your interests. It's saying, hey, this is cool, pursue this. And that part of you that's asking you to pursue something is the part of you that is feeling what they call called, or a calling. Now, a lot of times you'll hear about people being called to like the ministry, or called to some type of spiritual work. But they can say, oh, it's your calling to be any kind of profession, or you can have a calling towards a person or an experience. Your calling shows up because a part of you is sort of tugging on your heart. It's like your soul is like tugging on the skirts of your heart, and it's like, hey, hey, pay attention to me. And when you look down, you're like, yeah, what do you need? It's like, I want you to go pursue this, or I want you to look into that. And we find out what our callings are by listening to our interests. So if you've turned on this podcast, or if you follow me on Instagram, or if you have tarot decks or oracle cards or carry crystals, or if you're interested in chakras or astrology or, any of this stuff, ghosts, spirits, mediums, past lives, interpreting your dreams. If you have interests in these things, that's your soul speaking through you. And that's all you need to know about whether or not you, quote, belong in something. If you're called to it, if you're interested in it, if your soul is leading you to it, you belong there. That's how you know that you do belong there. If you were sitting in a room, listening to someone speak on a topic that you had no interest in, that wasn't even captivating your attention at all, that was just like really hard for you to get through, your calling's likely not in that area. Now, unfortunately, sometimes in life, or many times in life, or in my experience, often in life, we have to sit in those rooms and we have to listen to those talks and we have to be present for those things. But that's information for us. It's information that we're not drawn to that. It's information that, okay, I have to learn how to tolerate doing something that, maybe I don't want to do, but this thing isn't for me. And so when you find something that is for you, when you find something that is speaking for you or to you, or moving you in some kind of way, pay attention to that, because it's rare. It's not frequent that we notice these things that captivate us. And when we do, that's our soul talking to us. That's my belief. That's our soul talking to us, and it's time to pay attention. So often, I'm also a psychic intuitive, and I do medium work, and I have a lot of clients that are like, oh, I wish I could get answers as easy as you, or I wish I knew just what was going on in the universe, or what my guides wanted me to say, or what my purpose is, or who I am, or what my loved ones want to communicate to me. And I always say back, you do. Like, you do know all those things. You're just not aware of the way that they show up. You're just not paying attention to how it comes to you, because your soul is speaking to you and directing you by telling you, go follow this thing that you have an interest in. That is your soul telling you something, or your ancestors, or your guides, or your higher purpose. If you have an interest in something, that's how you know that you're meant for it. So sit with that thought and try to not demonize yourself for the things that you're interested in, and instead say, oh my gosh, this is my higher purpose talking to me. How can I embrace it? Because that's really important, and that's what we're here to do. Now, aside from that, so that's the answer to the question, just to sum that up. How do I know if I'm a witch? Are you interested in witchcraft? If you're interested in witchcraft, chances are you're a witch. If you're called to learn more about this, totally check that box. Give yourself permission to be the thing you want to be, or to be dipping your toe into it at least. Okay? Give yourself permission to be like, I think I might be a witch. I'm going to dive into it farther. We're so used to feeling like we're on the outskirts of the things that we love that we don't allow ourselves to immerse into them. And I want to invite you to embrace it, become it, allow it, to just dive fully in, sit in the bath of everything you love and let it surround you. This is a short life that we have. Why would we withhold that from ourselves? Try to love yourself enough to let yourself have the things you love. Okay, so on a more practical level, though, I get asked a lot, well, where do I begin? Okay, I'm interested in witchcraft. I've decided I'm interested in it. I know I want to learn more about it. Where do I go? What do I do? What are the resources? Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for being on this podcast, because this is one of those resources. Thank you for listening, and thank you for turning it on, and thank you for following me on whatever, avenue that you do. Start doing things like that. Listen to podcasts, follow accounts that are about the interests that you have. Immerse yourself in social media in all the things that you like. I just need to say this really quickly, because a lot of times people use their social media against themselves. People use their own social media to harm themselves. They'll fill their feeds with things that make them feel inadequate or bad about themselves or smaller or not good enough. They'll follow people in high school who didn't accept them then and probably don't accept them now. They'll follow family members who they disagree with. They'll follow accounts that are like maybe supposed to be inspiring but actually end up making them feel worse. What I want you to do is like overhaul your media and surround yourself in so many things that make you feel really good, really uplifted, and really inspired. So saturate your social media with witchy shit. Excuse my language, but saturate your social media with all the witchy stuff that you can find. If you're interested in spirituality, oh my gosh, allow yourself to just get flooded by it. You don't need to just follow one account, one perspective, one person, one point of view. There's enough to go around. There are so many of us out here teaching spirituality, and we each have our own specific perspective on it. None of them are wrong. It's just what resonates with you. You're going to saturate yourself in so much information that you can pick and choose what works for you. So where do you start? Start how you've started. Listen to podcasts, follow accounts, watch YouTube videos. I'm about to launch my own YouTube video with videos about witchcraft so that you can see how to perform certain spells, how to do certain rituals, how to set up your spaces. Visual aids are really helpful with this stuff sometimes. But there's already a lot of cool accounts out there to go watch those videos. And it doesn't even have to be just about witchery. It can be about anything. It can be about astrology or tarot or crystals or anything that you're interested in. Follow those accounts. Allow yourself to like those pages on Facebook. Allow yourself to immerse in the hashtags and all of the things. Because as much as maybe there's debate about whether social media is good for us or not, and I think it is, as much as there might be debate about that, guess what? It's a part of our reality. So let's use it to our advantage. I always say, if you're going to create a world for yourself, create one that empowers you, that not disempowers you. So ask yourself that question too. Like, is my world empowering me? Does it make me feel uplifted? Does it make me feel better? Is my media supporting a better mindset for me, or is it making it worse? And if it's making it worse, boy, that's where you start. You shift it. Some people like to read books. That's awesome. There's a whole bunch of witchcraft books out there. There are so many. People are always asking me, what do I recommend? I like several. The Witch's Bible is a really great book. It's a really good resource. And it's not a book that you sit down and read. It's black with a white circular design on the cover. It's divided into 4 quadrants. It's not a book that you just pick up and read. This is a resource book. You flip through it when you're looking for how to do certain things. You kind of dog-ear the pages or put little Post-it flags in it. You use it like a resource book. Another option is a book called Witch by Lisa Lister. I want to talk about that though. Lisa Lister's book is really great. However, the whole thing about it is that it's getting a little bit of kickback from the trans community because it's so centered in the femininity and womanhood and sort of like the anatomy around being a woman. Now, she comes at it from this perspective of let's reclaim our power because traditionally women have been so vilified for being a witch. And we're going to talk about the link between witchcraft and feminism at a later date. However, it's so focused in women power that it has made some people in the trans community feel as if they are not being included. That's not okay. The content in the book overall, however, is really helpful. So if you can purchase the book and then perhaps make a donation to a trans organization, a trans-friendly organization to sort of make yourself right energetically, that's an option. Or you can read some summaries of what the book says. But I wanted to say that that is a thing that comes up with that book. And still there's a lot of good content in the book. So do with that what you will. I also like a book called Grimoire for a Green Witch. It's got a lot of different rituals, spells, and things that you can do that are kind of focused in nature and plants and the cycles of the equinoxes and things like that. So for books, that's where I would say start there. Those 3 books are great. There's a book called Pure Magic that is out of print, but it is also excellent. So if you can find that on Amazon, go ahead and do that as well. I would also say start with yourself. Asking yourself, what am I drawn to? What am I interested in? Make a list. What kinds of topics really make you happy? What kinds of things make you feel connected? And I would do that. There's other places you can start once you've decided that you're going to really lean into witchcraft, setting up an altar in your home, carrying crystals that resonate with you, learning an oracle deck or a tarot deck and pulling a card every day. And we're going to talk in depth about all of that more. But this is where I would start from the very beginning. These are the resources I would start with. Saturate your social media. Go out to the bookstore and browse the books. Pick up what speaks to you. Start keeping a journal or a notebook, and you can jot down all the synchronicities or the things that happen to you that feel witchy or spiritual in nature. Approach your life as if you are allowing it to be so rather than disconnecting from it, and see how that feels to you and see where that goes for you. So we're going to talk more on the next podcast about some other kind of basic witchy topics for people who are just getting started, and the things that I get asked a lot. We're going to talk about, well, what is witchcraft? How does magic work? Is magic real? Is this really a real thing? Like, are you really doing spells? Yes, I am. Yes, it is. Yes, it's real. And I'm going to kind of dive in with you a little bit on the magic theory and what's actually going on so that you can understand sort of the science behind it. That'll be on the next podcast. But for now, I wanted to just say welcome to witchcraft. If no one's formally welcomed you, you don't need to have a specific path that you're following. You don't need to be a certain kind of witch. Practice trying on the title and see how it feels, because you're welcome here and you're allowed to be here and we embrace you, and this is a really amazing and good thing. So welcome. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're listening. Please share with your friends if you're resonating with the podcast. I would appreciate you sharing it, because I think that it's important to get really good information out there. And I think that it's important to have this conversation happening. So thank you for listening. Again, I'm Rhian Lockhart, and I am the head witch at Moonstone Witchery. You can find me on Instagram at moonstone_witchery. And you can find me soon on YouTube at Moonstone Witchery as well. And my website is www.moonstonewitchery.com. So please check me out. And please leave me any feedback, because I would love to hear from you. All right, we'll talk to you soon.